All right, welcome into Starting Five here on the Five Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick at Five Reasons Sports. Our producer is Manny Chang. Our sponsor, All Pro Construction Builders. You can find them at allproconstructionbuilders.com or All Pro Construction Builders on Instagram. Our guy Danny and the rest of his team. We know that, well, maybe you don't know. Hurricane season has already started. We just don't have the name storms yet, but they're coming. Make sure that you get your house, your whatever it is you've got, your business fortified. Make sure you get the storm windows, the storm doors. If you reach out to Danny and his team at All Pro Construction Builders, allproconstructionbuilders.com, you get a discount on your overall order. It's 305-484-4429. Huge Miami Heat fan. It's a family business. They use locally made products. I've told you all this before. Why haven't you called? 305-484-4429. Again, it's allproconstructionbuilders.com or All Pro Construction Builders on Instagram. You see all the great work they do. They also do the renovations as well if you're just not ready to leave your house, but you want it to look a lot better. All right, speaking of things that need to look a lot better, the NBA Finals. The Miami Heat are in Denver tonight. I am not in Denver tonight, so that's, I just couldn't make it out there. I'll get out there for Game 7, if there's a Game 7. We'll see if there's even a Game 6. We got new episodes of Five on the Floor up, 3 new episodes, one with Sam Amick, one that I did with Greg, one that I did with Alex and Brady, kind of breaking things down. And, the question is this, do they have one in them? Do they have one in them? And really starts with, does Jimmy have one in him? And, I think the conclusion that most of us have drawn right now is no. It just doesn't seem like it. 12 out of the last 13 games, he's been under 50% from the field. In a lot of ways, he dragged them here, and it just seems like it's dragged him down. Between that, the ankle, and everything else, it just does not look like they can summon the necessary, I don't know if it's energy or what, to really challenge in this series. But look, we didn't necessarily think they'd go up to Boston and blow out the Celtics in Game 7. And it does seem like they are better with their backs against the wall, so to speak, whatever the cliche is, adversity, whatever. We're built for this, beauty in the struggle. All the stuff that Eric Spoelstra's talked about over the past few months that's prepared them for this. But this is obviously, this is the toughest task of all. I mean, they haven't been down in a series like this. They haven't been down to a team like this. I think Denver, we're seeing it. I talked about it before the finals started. It reminded me a lot of the 2014 Spurs in terms of how sort of integrated they are. Everybody knows their roles. And I just think at this point, the Heat, in their sort of battered state, have run into a buzzsaw. And it doesn't mean they can't get one. And we talked about that with Alex and Brady. How can they get one? And is it a lineup change? Is it just shooting the ball better? Is it defending a little bit differently? They did a great job on Murray in the last game, only for Aaron Gordon to get off. So it's a little bit of whack-a-mole here when you're playing against Denver. They have role guys who can become core guys in a given game. And a lot of that is because Jokic just makes the game so easy for them. And so, there's not a lot of really complicated stuff that Aaron Gordon had to do, to score nearly 30 points. It's back cuts, it's above the rim, it's Jokic high-low passes and that kind of stuff. And again, it's just really difficult to defend. And I think what we're seeing, too, again, is that the Denver Nuggets should have been on national television more this year. And this whole idea that, okay, we're going to wait for the Clippers when Kawhi and Paul George are healthy. They're going to overtake them. No. Durant goes to Phoenix. They're going to overtake them. No. Ja's going to get his bleep together, so Memphis is going to overtake them. No. LeBron and AD. No. So it's just one after another. I think the national media kept looking for a sexier team to overtake Denver. It didn't happen. And the reason it didn't happen is because the Nuggets are simply the best team in basketball this year. And I think we're seeing it. Okay, so how do you make this thing competitive? I would start here. If Max Strus is going to start, he can't play long if he's shooting poorly. And it's got to be one stint. And you got to go to Duncan Robinson sooner. And it's not even as much Duncan shooting the ball better, although he has. It's just the way that the defense reacts to him in that they think he's going to shoot the ball better, and that creates opportunities for others. So I would get in Duncan early. The Gabe Vincent-Kyle Lowry thing's a little trickier because Gabe has played so well in the postseason, but he hasn't played well in the past two. It was foul trouble in Game 3, and then in Game 4, he just was totally out of sorts from the very beginning. The Spoelstra's going to lean on Kyle Lowry. I don't like the Lowry-Vincent lineups, but again, without Hero, they don't have a lot of choice. But again, I think there'll be a short leash on Gabe as well as on Max tonight. Haywood Highsmith, in my view, should have been playing throughout this series. I think most Heat fans agree with that. Brady certainly, Alex have pushed for that. Will he play tonight? Probably. I don't think it's going to be long minutes, but it feels like if he's going to be out there to guard Jamal Murray, at least it takes something off of Jimmy's plate, and allowed Jimmy to be a little bit more of a roamer. We'll see if that actually happens. And then, look, of course, there's the Bam factor. And I think what we're starting to see here is, and this, I'm going to mea culpa on this a little bit, is we always push for Bam to be more aggressive, right? But there are diminishing returns at a certain point with Bam when he starts to be more aggressive. And that's one of the reasons why I think Eric hasn't pushed him to be more aggressive at times, is because we see sometimes the turnovers crop up, 7 in the last game, more than the entire Denver team. He's got to be better and stronger with the ball. He just has to be if they're going to have a chance tonight. I'll say this. Okay, there's going to be a lot of postmortems on this season after the fact. If Miami loses tonight, there's going to be a lot of frustration and anger at certain players, which I feel is completely unwarranted. Again, they're not supposed to be here. They dragged us into June. We thought the season was ending in late April. Okay. And then there's going to be a pivot to the offseason and to Dame and all the rest of that, and we're going to do the same thing. But I do think there should be some appreciation for where we are. It is June 12th, and the Miami Heat are still playing. Spo messed up big time with the Highsmith minutes. Too late now. Nothing's too late until the series is over, but I agree with you that he should have played him sooner, and I don't really understand the rationale, and he hasn't really given a reason, and I know that fans after every game are like, why didn't you ask him this? Why didn't you ask him this? First thing, just to explain a little bit. You're getting one question in these days. Okay, this is not the regular season where I can pull Eric to the side at a practice or something along those lines. You're getting one question. I'm not the type to bother coaches with texts during the height of the playoffs. So you don't really get a lot of opportunity to ask this stuff, and he's not going to give you a legitimate answer in that kind of form anyway. So you just try to talk to people around the team. And, the gauge I get is just that, Eric liked the size matchup with Zeller. That's all on Jokic. And actually, if you look at the plus-minus minutes for Zeller the past couple games, that has not really been the problem. But I do agree there should have been a role for Haywood Highsmith somewhere. Jordan, Spo's leash on Strus has been crazy. Duncan helped cut the lead. They started out the third with Strus. Denver got comfortable again. I'm in agreement with you on that as well. I thought that there should have been a starting lineup change to the start of the third. Spo doesn't do that a lot. I think he doesn't do it a lot because he doesn't want guys to lose confidence when he knows he may need them at some point in the half. But he has done it. It's not like he's never done it. So I would have done it there, and I would have gone to Duncan. He did go to Duncan and Lowry. Those minutes were, Duncan and Lowry with Caleb, Bam, and Jimmy was his predominant lineup in the second half. What's funny is I tracked those numbers, and I actually posted them on Twitter. They've had a really good offensive rating with that 5-man group, but a terrible defensive rating. This comes from a band. Spo has been sneakily outcoached. We've lost every first half. Only thing we've done well is keep Murray somewhat quiet. They did. They put a lot of focus on Murray. But again, then Gordon got off. And they don't seem prepared for the back cuts on the baseline when Jokic has the ball at the top, and that's been a big problem. Comment, Manny, throw that one back up there again. From Dean. The other thing I thought was strange last game was it appeared Spo was going to change rotation, keep Bam in and take Jimmy out the first, but did it for a minute and then changed back. It's almost like he thought better of it. I know we were trying to pinpoint last night on 5 on the Floor what the rotation change was, and we got a little bit confused. But yes, that was the rotation change, but it didn't last very long. I just think he's searching for answers right now. The thing about Denver is they don't really do much to adjust. Like Malone has his set 8-man rotation, and when Porter isn't going well, he'll play Brown more. But and Porter hasn't gone well the whole series. But other than that, there's not a lot that they do. They're just again, when you're the better team, you don't have to do a lot. The other team is the team that has to adjust to you. So, okay, all the questions are coming in about rotation changes, and I understand it. Miles, is there a reason? To me, this is a little bit more to the point. Is there a reason Bam and Jimmy are afraid to attack Jokic? He's not better defensively than Williams or Lopez. I'm not sure. I'll say this. They did pick up 5 fouls on him. They did get him out of the game, and they couldn't capitalize on it. They were a minus with Jokic sitting on the bench in the second half. So it wasn't just that, but I'm with you that at times, I think there's two different reasons here. Jimmy, I don't think can attack anybody right now the way he did before. Look, the free throw numbers are all down. I mean, we all know what we're seeing, right? Like, he's not the same. He's not the same. So if we want to say it's the ankle, if we want to say it's other stuff he's dealing with, whatever it is, the end result is he's not the same. He's not attacking in quite the same way. When he was getting like the two small matchups earlier in the playoffs, he was, I mean, literally, like you could see him salivating. Like he was going for the, I mean, whether it was Josh Hart, by the way, who caused a lot of this problem. But then, he gets Bruce Brown on him now. And one time he had him on his back and he went straight at him, but other times he hasn't. I just don't think that he has the same confidence in his lift, just in his whole physical being at this point, where he's at this stage of the playoffs with the ankle and everything else, to do the things that he did earlier in the postseason. But yes, Jokic, it's weird because he's not a great defender. You can get him in space. Miami, I don't think, has done a good job attacking him. I think what we've really seen in this series in particular is they need somebody else who can get the ball to the basket. They need more. They need somebody to give them rim pressure. I mean, that's what they were hoping Oladipo would do this season. Funny, we've talked so much about Hero, but there are certain stages of this finals that Oladipo would have been valuable. Obviously, you would have had to contain his urges on offense, but he could have defended Jamal Murray. I don't think we've mentioned that once on 5 on the Floor, but that would have helped. Again, not excuses, because I don't think the Heat would beat Denver in this series 100% healthy. I don't. They're not going to Omer. This comes in from Karina. They're not going to Omer. Not at this stage. Spoelstra doesn't trust him to be in the right place defensively. So Omer lost his opportunity with the injury. He just never got himself back, and then Zeller came in. The thing about Zeller is, for whatever his limitations are, and they exist for sure, Spoelstra knows he's going to do what the defense calls for him to do. That's why he's playing him. So anyway, back to tonight. What has to happen? First thing, obviously, they need to shoot the ball well from 3. So they need one of those 37, 38% games from 3 on decent volume. I would be bombs away tonight. Obviously you don't have Hero, but Strus, Robinson, Vincent, Lowry, Martin, bombs away. You have to play the 3-for-2 game with this team. Denver has done a really good job at forcing the Heat to take twos and then making them contested twos. We knew that at some point the whole 2-for-3 thing would catch up with Miami if they couldn't make their threes. You just got to roll the dice and take as many as possible today. Also, I would take, again, there's a lot of attention blitzing on Murray. You still have to do some of that, but you can't let the roll guys get off too. So they need to do a better job in terms of awareness on the back cuts, particularly on Gordon and on Brown. Braun got off. I always mispronounce his name. He got off the rookie from Kansas. He got off the game before, with some of those back cuts. But they need to do something about that. The weak side help in this series has not been good for Miami. That needs to improve. Also, they need to somehow force some turnovers. Denver had 6 turnovers in the last game. As I mentioned, Bam had more turnovers by himself than Denver had together. When Miami is playing well defensively, you judge them by the turnovers that they force. You force 6 turnovers in a finals game, they need to be more impactful. They need to get up in you. I think Spoelstra is going to run a little bit more of that press, or at least sort of that fake press that they run that goes into a zone. You may see more of that, and like I said, you may see more zone tonight too. Denver's not really killing you from 3. So you can play a little bit more zone against them, and I think they might. All right, what do I think happens tonight? Well, first thing, we're having a watch party, so check us out at Tropical Distillers. That's the first thing. We'll be down there. We're going to have a good time. We've got some giveaways. One recommendation, if you ever picked up any of those towels at games, 1 and 2, since it seems like the Heat won't do the T-shirt thing anymore, games 3 and 4, don't wash them. Seems like they found the cheapest possible material. I'm telling you, the lettering just wipes right off. So that's it. Just make it a dish rag. But we have some of those washed. We're going to give some of those out today. We also got T-shirts, hats, all kinds of other stuff. Check us out at Tropical Distillers tonight. It's in Allapattah. It's about 10 minutes outside of Miami. We've done watch parties there before. It's fun. It's free to get in. And then you we'll have some food trucks and stuff like that there, drink specials, and I think it's $40 to drink all night if you want to do that. So you want to get yourself completely sloshed and drink away the season, you can do that with us. Also, do want to mention Prize Picks. This may be the last one of the year for the NBA. So go on there and use the code 5, FIVE. Get that initial deposit matched up to $100. We're going to run a contest this afternoon for up to $150 in promo funds. But you got to be signed up. So use the code 5 to sign up. Put down $20, get the match, and then you're eligible for the big promo thing. And again, you'll have $40 to play then instead of $20 to play, and you might be able to play it for a few weeks. Who knows? You play MLB, Stanley Cup Finals tomorrow, and all the rest of it. My thoughts on tonight, I do not think they win tonight. They're 9-point underdogs at Better Edge. I would like them to drag this thing back to Miami. I actually said on 5 on the Floor, I think they have a better chance to win Game 5 than they would to have win Game 6. I don't trust them at home at all right now. If Jimmy was Jimmy right now, then I would bet on the kind of Game 7 that they had up in Boston. I don't know that he can get to that level tonight. I just don't. I haven't seen it. It's almost 3 weeks. I mean, this team has been, obviously the opponents are better than what you see in the regular season, but this team has kind of played like the regular season Heat now for about 2 or 3 weeks. A lot of their metrics are very similar. The things that are going wrong are similar. I'm not saying what they did earlier was a fluke. It wasn't, okay? They had to do it. But it just feels like they've crashed back to earth a little bit, and I have a hard time seeing them get out of this. But the way to do it is they're going to have to shoot the bleep out of the ball tonight. They just are. So for those of you who don't want to see any Max Strus, you're probably going to see some Max Strus, because one of the ways that they can win this game, the outlier way, is for them to just shoot the ball really well from 3, and obviously he's one of their guys who has the capability to do it. We saw it in Game 2. He just hasn't done it over the rest of the series. I do want to thank everybody for joining us on Starting 5 throughout the playoffs. If this is it, even if it is it, we will do more Starting 5 episodes. We've obviously got other sports that we can pivot to, but we're going to do a ton of Heat draft and Heat free agency coverage as well. So subscribe to Off the Floor. Greg's been posting basically all of their workouts there. He's been finding out before anybody else. So check that out there, and obviously we'll have coverage there tonight as well. Thanks to our sponsors, All Pro Construction Builders, Prize Picks. Use code 5. Thanks to Manny for producing. Let's hope it's a good day, everybody. See you at Tropical Distillers tonight, 7 o'clock.